right. So welcome to my third and final demo video of Asteroid Belt. This is going to be covering all the latest changes made to the game since its last second update or midterm update. So we're going to be covering what additions have been added to the main game itself, as well as some UI and SFX changes. So starting off with just the core gameplay, what changes we have done so far is that basically there's now a pause system, as you can see here with the UI. So there has been added a pause bind to the player interaction, so they can use the escape key to basically pause the game and escape again to unpause it. Furthermore, on top of that, we also have some functionality added with the heart and scoring system. So now the hearts, actually with the help of a UI manager, as well as just the general, let's see if I can find the screen overlay, a ship UI controller can decrement the health bar every time the ship gets hit by an asteroid, as well as increment the score text each time the ship destroys an asteroid. And that score given or awarded can be set here from a design standpoint of just setting the score increment rate. So right now I have it to 50, so each time we shoot an asteroid, we get 50 more points. In the score, there's no save and load systems currently in the game, so it will just get reset to 0 each time you come back to this scene. But it does track upwards while you're in your session. All right, moving on. Besides just the pause screen, you may have noticed that the placeholder asteroids have been removed, and that is because actually we have added a asteroid spawner that you can see right here below. So the asteroid spawner basically will go off of some Sterdian math. We go to Sterdian right now. So Sterdian is just a square radian unit, but the point is of making the Sterdian-based cone implementation or mimicking that behavior inside the sphere here. So basically what we're doing is we're taking a vector, a directional vector, projecting it to a cross section, and then we're taking that cross section area, we're selecting a point or a vector point off that to select basically have a randomized spawn point for each asteroid relative to the player, and then hurtled at them. So we're basically just creating in short, a spawn dome, and you can control the radius as well as the angle, I guess, to what the uh, cap covers. So that's the math behind the spawner that we've added, but I'll showcase the spawner in just a bit. There's no gizmos to represent it, got a little short on time, but I can go through the code here really quickly on that. So here we have the angle spawn cone set to 90 degrees, so it will be relatively somewhat narrow, but a little bit wide at the same time. So the direction should still be pretty adequate for unpredictable directions, because we want to make it a little fun, a little unpredictable. At the same time, we don't want to be always hitting in blind spots, so that's why we have it set to 90. As you can see, if I can just find, here's the main math right here, get point on unit sphere cap. So basically we're just getting a random angle for the arc, and then we multiply that by a conversion from degrees to radians. We get a random point inside the unit circle, normalize it, times that by the sine function, and then we get the cross section using the cosine along the z of the vector. And that basically just gets us the cross-section cap where we want to spawn at. And then we return that target direction, so the same direction the player is facing, times that cross-section. And then we just refactor that upwards from the target direction, from the ship again, and then eventually it all comes back here to where we instantiate it at that final vector offset. Using coordinates, I believe. Quaternion, that's it. I always have trouble pronouncing it. But anywho, that's how this the spawner works high level, without getting too much into the vector math here. And then we basically just try to spawn it each time. And why the try method instead of just like spawn asteroid? Well, because we want to have a limit on how many asteroid is in per scene. So currently, if I go to it, we have a cap of 8 asteroids limited per scene. And so this should just basically control like, hey, can I spawn another asteroid? Do I have enough room to do so? And it goes through all the process of doing that with using our spawn asteroid method up here. That involves our Steradian unit-based calculations. So that out of the way, also there's a custom editor script running in the background for spawning test asteroids. So you can spawn them along the random points and see where they're generally spawning, see if the angle spawn cone is where we'd like it to be at. And I can actually showcase that real quick and just control Z it at the end. So if I go in front of the player's ship right here, if I do spawn test asteroid, boom, there is one right there, boom, another right there. And yeah, you can just test their spawn points based on the parameters you currently have, and it's quite useful for like just basically determining, okay, yeah, this is where I'd like the angle to be and such and such. But yeah, let me clear out the warning here. That's just for the asteroid mesh. That's the main updates to the game itself. There are physics added to it as well. The add forces have been added along with some asteroid rotations, which aren't in the spawner, but actually on the asteroid itself. So make the asteroid spin as it goes, just multiplying its rotation by time, fixed delta time. And you notice we're using a lot of fixed delta times in our physics calculations, and that's because the pause screen will actually change the physics factor to 0, or the time scale to 0, which gets us our pause effect automatically just off of the physics engine. And then we just have some despawning. In case they never hit the asteroid, we want it to be the spawner to generate a new one off the rip. Constantly throwing asteroids at them as we're trying to get a loop going. So there's a constant spawning of asteroids going on. We don't just spawn 8 and then wait for the player to destroy them, because what if they go out of bounds? Then there's no way to destroy them and such. But yeah, here's a throw asteroid at target function I was originally mentioning about, which is just the add force to the rigid body. The heading, which is towards the ship's distance vector, and then times its speed. Then updating a flag if it started hurtling. So yeah, that is the main changes to the game. I think I'm actually now out of stuff for the main game. On the UI, and SFX is one of the main additions that's also been added on, as you can already see from the pause screen. But if we go to the other scenes, there's 2 other scenes that have been added since. There's the main menu scene. Don't save. The main menu scene, which just is, as you would expect, a main menu, new game, settings, exit, and the UI is set up to where you could have different menu panels that you can enable and disable to basically view each of the different pages in the UI. And this is all controlled mainly by UI controllers and UI manager to centralize it. And then we also have audio sources to play menu themes, and then some SFX manager to manage the sound effects of each UI button as well. And you may notice there's a lot of audio sources on this SFX manager, and that's mainly for different channels for each of the player chip components as well as the UI components, keeping them separate so they can run concurrently. If we had a professional library like Fmod or WWise, then we wouldn't need all these excess audio sources. But since we're using the default built-in Unity audio system, we have to have these to be able to run them, because only one audio source can only play one sound at a time. Hence the stop and play functions. UI manager, we have UI menus, so you can enable default UI behavior, which is basically which one do you want to enable and the rest to be disabled, and then it will just go through and control which ones are shown at a specific time. So for example, the main menu will be shown by default, and then you can go through, and then once you click on, say, settings, then the settings menu will set active to true and it will be shown, but then the main menu will go away. And so yeah, controlling only one menu appearing at a time, so you don't have any overlap. And then lastly, we have a game over menu, so I don't save any changes to this. Game over, it just has retry in main menu to complete the game loop. So retry, you go back to the main scene to play your game again with a new score, a new life. Main menu actually takes you back to the main menu scene where you can go into settings, or you can do a new game, or exit the game completely, which is just closing the app. So yeah, that is the main updates to Asteroid Belt. It's better to actually show it gameplay-wise of what has been added since, because it's much more immersed. And now with the UI changes, the SFX changes, you actually have a playable prototype state where you can get score, you can get killed, and you can just, the music adds a whole lot of environmental ambiance to it, a lot of immersion factor to it. So I'll go ahead and play the game. I'll stop talking for a little bit and just get on to the main part of the demo that you want to see. So here we got the main demo going on. And it's scalable too. Settings, controls. And here we have the controls for seeing what the current PC binds are. And we do a NuGet. I should see the asteroids spawning in just now. Yep, there they are. They're coming at me. And I can fire. And I have SFX for fire. Trying to dodge asteroids right now, but actually, let me let the asteroids kill me. So I'll stand still, and they should hurtle at me, and I should lose health. So I'm down to 2 hearts now, and then this one should be the killing blow. Yep, boom. All right, and then the game sounds end. Add a game over screen, and there could have been an audio cue for a game over, like a womp womp womp, but unfortunately, we ran out of time for any extra sound effects. But all the UI juice is there though. So I'll go to main menu. I'll go exit just to demonstrate the exit functionality. And yeah, there was a lot of singleton work also that had to be done to make sure that they weren't having any dropped references. And they're constantly updating their memory with each new scene. So I will go and just exit off the bat, and see you can exit too. And it's basically just having a macro of are we in editor or are we in build? So it will alternate between using editor application.quit and normal application.quit for exit. But that is basically Asteroid Belt demo for now. Oh, there's one thing I forgot to actually showcase. It was the sound effect changes made to hyperspeed. So there's actually 3 different hyperspeed state sound effects. There's a hyperspeed for using it, which is a wind, like a jet engine sound effect. There's one for exiting, which is like a cooldown sound effect, and then a replenish sound effect. So let me do that. So let me see if you can hear the hyperspeed sound effect. Replenish noise should come on. There we go, replenish sound effect. So yeah, that is Asteroid Belt in its current prototype state. So yeah, my name is Brendan Singh. Hope you enjoyed watching my demo video for the 3rd and final time for CS485 Advanced Game Development. See you soon.